Hi, I'm Flat Stanley Fortin, and this is where my adventure began.
On October 31st, I left St. Albert and flew to Kalispell, Montana, to visit with Granty Margaret and Grunkle Dave. When I got there, I helped Granty with the dishes, and then we headed out to the Snoring Hound studio. The studio was so cool. I got to see a recording console, a dobro, kind of looks like a very cool guitar, a Deckley pedal steel guitar, a piano, an organ, and so much other cool stuff. I even got to sing with a James Brown doll. I had a play date with Preston. That's Granty and Grunkle's grandson. We had so much fun. Then Granty took me to the Kalispell Regional Medical Center. That's where she works. I got to see the surgical room. Man, there's a lot of stuff needed for surgeries. Look at all of that stuff. I also got to try on the mask that help you go to sleep. But she didn't turn on the gas, of course. This is all of the suture stuff. They use it for stitches. Granty brought me to Woodland Park. We got to feed the ducks some dried breadcrumbs. They loved them. At first they stayed in the water, but after a little while they started getting more comfortable and they started getting closer and closer and closer. Guys? There were a lot of cool old buildings in Kalispell. My favorites were the courthouse and St. Matthew's Church. Granty then took me to Flathead Lake. The water in there is so clear. Goodbye, Kalispell. It was so much fun. I sure hope I come back someday. On November 4th, we drove all the way to Valley View. Man, that was a long drive. And we met with a lot of Callista's family. On November 7th, I left Valley View with Auntie Alice and Uncle Dean. First we got on a plane and then flew to Vancouver. And then we had to go on a ferry for 3 hours to go to Vancouver Island. That's where they live. Vancouver Island is really, really cool if you like beaches and seashells. After the ferry, we went to Victoria Airport to pick up Treasure. Treasure is their new dog that they adopted. He's so cool. Nice to meet you, Treasure. Sometimes the best friend you can ever have has 4 legs and barks a lot. Then we went to Duncan. Duncan is a town that's renowned for its totem poles. They have over 80 of them. Totem poles are really, really large sculptures made out of a tree. I also learned a lot about the Coast Salish people. They are very, very good fishermen. I even got my own Salish sea sweater. It was warm and cozy. When we got home after picking up seashells on the beach, my feet were cold, so Auntie gave me my very own pair of slippers that she made. And then we went to a farmer's market to pick up some nice fresh fruits and vegetables. Did you know that Vancouver Island doesn't get any snow? So vegetables like carrots and squash can grow all year round, even in the winter? Auntie Alice and Uncle Dean live in Chimneys. Chimneys is just a little tiny town right on the ocean. But they have some really, really cool murals on the buildings downtown. I went to the beach with Grace, Auntie and Uncle's granddaughter, and she showed me some starfish. They are really nice. On Vancouver Island, there's some very, very big trees. They're called Douglas fir, and they grow to over 70 meters tall and live for 1,000 years. Thank you, Auntie Alice, Uncle Dean, Grace, and Treasure. Vancouver Island was so much fun. On December 8th, I left Chimneys and went to Grand Prairie, Alberta, to meet Callista's grandma and grandpa. They're really, really nice. I sure hope to see them again someday. On December 20th, I left Grand Prairie with Tanis Baker, a friend of the family, to go to New Zealand. That's halfway across the world. After 17 hours on an airplane, we landed in Auckland, New Zealand. I'm traveling here with the Baker family. Today, we're doing some sightseeing at the port seawall. I'm watching ships and yachts coming to the harbor. The little girl in the picture is my new friend, Emma Baker. Then we went to the zoo. I got my picture taken with a huge turtle. We saw elephants, zebras, hippopotamuses, monkeys, flamingos, and so much more animals. Goodbye, New Zealand. This was such a cool trip. I can't wait to get back to Callista and show her all my travels. I wonder where I'll be going next. On January 25th, I flew to Red Harbor, Newfoundland to meet my new friends, Crystal, Gary, and Jenna Hoskin. I didn't get to visit much over there because of a big 2-day blizzard. So instead, I got screeched in. That's a Newfoundland tradition for people that aren't born there but want to be Newfie. That's what they call people that live in Newfoundland, Newfies. I was pretty shy at first, but after it was all done, we sat down and sang some song and had a big old feed of food. On February 15th, I flew back to Grand Prairie, and I got to meet Coco. That's Grandma and Grandpa's puppy. Not only did I get to see Grandma and Grandpa again, they're taking me to Mexico. Cancun, Mexico. We left Grand Prairie on February 17th, and we stayed at White Sands Riviera. While in Cancun, I got to see a lot of really nice scenery. There was also a lot of lizards and birds. The lizards are called iguanas, and it happened to be the iguana mating season, so they were all over the place. We went on a tour of the Mayan pyramids, and me and Grandpa Jack climbed up right up to the top of the highest one.
Arriba, arriba, ándale, ándale.
After the pyramids, we went and relaxed on the beach. I really like the Caribbean Sea. The water is nice and green, and the beaches are all white sands. Grandma and Grandpa got me my very own Mexican sombrero. Goodbye, Mexico. What a beautiful country. Thanks, Grandma and Grandpa. On February 25th, we left Cancun and went back to Grand Prairie. And then, on the 28th, back to St. Albert, to Callista's house. On February 28th, I went to work with Callista's mom. She works at the Alberta Gaming and Liquor Commission. They make the rules for the casinos. I got to sit at her desk, and then I played the slot machines, and I learned to play craps, and blackjacks, and roulette. On March 15th, I went to Sherbrooke, Quebec. That's where Callista's dad grew up, and I met Mammy and Pappy, Callista's dad's parents. On March 17th, Mammy and Uncle Dominic took me to Cuba. That's another island in the Caribbean. We spent a whole week on the beach or by the pool. It was so relaxing. Merci, Mamie et mon oncle Dominique. Cuba était vraiment beau. Bye bye. Back in Sherbrooke, Mammy and Pappy and Uncle Dominic and Uncle Jonathan took me to Maple Shack, ou La Cabane à Sucre. I got to see how they make maple syrup. And then I got to eat some on the snow. It was so yummy. Yum, yum, yum. Au revoir, Quebec. Wow, I had a lot of fun with Mammy and Pappy. Vive le Quebec! On April 21st, I left Sherbrooke and came back to St. Albert again. After I got back from Quebec, I went to work with Auntie Vicky. At her work, I got to answer the phone, and I learned how to use the fax machine. I even got in trouble for photocopying myself. I even had my coffee break with all the workers. I had hot chocolate and Nutella. After I was done at Auntie Vicky's work, I took a ride to Callista's mummy's work, where one of her coworkers wanted to meet me. Him and his family invited me to go to Punta Cana, Dominican Republic. What did you think I said? We left on April 26th. The plane ride was amazing. I got to sit by the window and hang out with the stewardess. Punta Cana was amazing. There was a really nice pool at the resort, palm trees, white beaches, nice warm sun. While I was laying around at the pool, a couple of peacocks came by. I gotta say, I was getting pretty nervous, because of the duck incident. Goodbye, Punta Cana. It was a fantastic trip. On May 9th, we left Punta Cana and came back to St. Albert. Then I went to work with Callista's dad. He works for Skyline Sign Services. We installed a big pylon sign that day. It was a lot of fun. I even got to run the controls on the crane. I also went for a ride in the bucket, way, way, way up high. When we were done, I got to sit in the cab of the truck and push the big yellow button. Callista's dad says that she really likes doing that too. After work, we went back to the house and I got to hang around with Callista's pets, Willow, Sparkle, and Crash.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me down the road, that's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep